Hi and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to turn this magnificent plant into food for your garden, creating a very special Comfrey feed. I'm in Mum and Dad's garden, and the Comfrey plant that you see here has been here for a few years. Now, this plant you can grow. You know, it likes sun, it can grow in shade, it has very, very deep tap roots to dig right down, travel all the way down into the ground to collect all the extra nutrients. Charlie the cat's on his way to visit. Hello, Charlie. And what happens is it gets to this stage where, you know, a lot of the flowers have gone. So the bees, it's not full of bees like it normally is. There's a few flowers left on, and obviously the bees are really, really enjoying it. But when it gets to this state, this is how we love it, because we can now take lots of leaves off and make our very special Comfrey tea, as we call it, or Comfrey feed. Now, as I say, anyone can grow this. It's a really useful plant. We've been growing it for years and years in our garden in Sheffield. We had it for a long, long time. We have it in our current garden as well. And it's just so easy to do. And this is so worthwhile, because you get in the potassium, the phosphorus and the nitrogen. And they're all the things that we need in order to create this great feed that will, when we use it on our plants, encourage them to flower and to have lots of flowers on and to be really, really healthy. And that's what we want, and that's what we use it for. You know, sometimes, you know, in the spring and, you know, everything's coming up, and then we have that first flush. We find as gardeners that sometimes things start to tire a little bit. You see plants struggling, and it's just nice to give them that extra boost to encourage more flowers. And that's what the Comfrey feed's all about. You know, this is something that we've been doing for years and years. So we're going to show you how to make this, and it's really, really easy. All as you need are really anything you can use that has a lid on. Now, we use these little plastic bird seed, this has had bird seed in, little plastic bird seed buckets, and these are perfect because we have lids to these. And the important thing is that it's totally sealed, because as it's brewing it smells absolutely disgusting, as you will find out when you do this yourself. I'm going to use secateurs to take off bits of the plant and use the leaves from there. Now, we need to be really careful, because the leaves themselves are quite rough and hairy, and they can irritate the skin. I have quite sensitive skin, and so I prefer to wear gloves when doing this, and it's probably a good idea that you do the same, just to be on the safe side. So if I take some bits off like that, just take pieces of the plant away, then all we need to do into the bucket is get some of the leaves, and you can break them by hand. You can chop them, you know, if you want to. I prefer just to break them up, literally like that, and pop them into the bucket. And it's so easy. Anyone can do this. It's the best thing to use on a garden. Honestly, it really is. We've been doing this, as I say, for years and years, and it just does it. It really does work. It gives your plants all the nutrients that they need. It's free. If you grow this plant, this is something that you can do in the garden. You're not constantly buying things in from the shop, from the garden centres or plant nurseries, or, you know, ordering stuff online. It's all there in your garden. You can do it for free, and that's what it's all about. I think saving money on things is so important, and, you know, we've all got things like this around the garden that we can use. We can recycle them. You know, that had bird seed in it. Now look at it, we're going to put it to use in another way, and they will last for years as well. These will, because we've already had these for quite a while. So yeah, this is so excited to be in Mum and Dad's garden doing something like this. Now the reason why we're not using our own, because we do have this plant in our garden, is it's still, the one that we've got in there is still very small, and we're trying to let that establish before we start tearing it to pieces. And because this one's been in a long time, obviously we can do that. This one was one of ours actually. This came from our garden a long time ago, so now it's here in Mum and Dad's garden. It's enjoying its new life, and like I say, it's been in for a long time. Now let me cut some of these off rather than pull them off. I'm terrible at pulling bits of plant away. Just really whatever's easiest for you, really. And you know, the great thing about Comfrey as well, let me tell you something, it likes to be cut back. So when it's finished its first flush of flowers, if you want to, you can cut it back and it will come up again, flower again, do its thing. And remember, it's an important source of nectar for the bees as well, because the bees go all across these tubular flowers and they absolutely adore it. So there's nothing worse than just leaving it to go over and thinking, oh, that's it now, you know, I'm not going to bother. It's finished flowering. No, it'll keep flowering. You just need to cut it back. And cutting it back also keeps it in check as well, keeps the plant in check. And because the last thing we want is for things to get out of hand and plants to start looking untidy, especially, you know, cutting it back, create that nectar source for the bees, let it come back, let it do its thing, let the bees be happy. Whilst the nutrients are actually in the leaves, the stems can be cut into pieces and placed on the compost heap, so you can compost them. It's the best thing to do really, because the last thing you want to do is have any of the plant go to waste. So why not compost it? Best thing for it. So what I'm going to do is go down to the base there on some of these stems. Then I can use these. So there you go, that's better. Going right back to the base. That one's not very well. He's a bit sickly, so we'll not use him. And then just get big clumps like that, big handfuls, and just break them up. Break them up as much as you want, but breaking them up really does help the process. And it's such a therapeutic thing to do, because you're making feed for your garden. You know, it's something that you can just sit and do when you've got some time. And it's free. All that you need is the time, the bucket and the water. That is all you need. And I just think it's wonderful to be able to do something for free. Just costs time, that's all. Just takes time. It's not going to cost you anything at all whatsoever. And you think of how much money you're saving by doing this as well. Now what I'm going to do is take most of this bush down. So I'm going to thin a lot of it out, leaving the portion that's still flowering for the bees so that they can enjoy it. And with regards to what I'm doing here, I would probably fill this bucket 3/4 full of leaves. Then when I add the water, I'll be adding it right up to the top. And then I would leave these for about 4 weeks at least. That's what we do. We leave it for at least 4 weeks. Then go back to it. It should smell absolutely disgusting. Then you know it's ready to use. So I'm going to keep on doing this. I'm going to crack on with it. So I'll take some of the stems out. Now that's about enough in the bucket. I think that'll do us nicely. So that's 3/4 full. And we just need to add the water. So I've got some water already here in the watering can. And all we need to do is just pour that on. So remember, we want this to be full. So we've got 3/4 of the comfrey leaves broken up. And then we're going to say about say about there. That should do us nicely. We just need to make sure that all the leaves are in contact with the water. We don't want any above the water line. So that is perfect. And all we need to do now is put the lid on. And make sure it's sealed. And now, in about 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to turn this into this. Literally a gooey, horrible, watery mess that smells absolutely disgusting. But the plants love it. And that's what we're doing it for. We're making this Comfrey feed for the plants to get all those flowers and to really only enrich the plants, but enrich our growing experience by the feed producing lots of flowers for us, because that's what we want. This one has been in the container since early spring, really. So this has been done and placed at one side. We always do this. We have lots of containers placed at the side, usually behind the summer house, with all this wonderful Comfrey feed brewing. So we've always got some on the go. But this one's early spring. But really, if you leave it for at least 4 weeks, you should be fine. When you do open it, it will smell absolutely disgusting, so be prepared. We're looking at diluting the Comfrey feed to a dilution of 1 in 10. Now we've already got 9 litres of water in the watering can, and we're looking at getting 1 litre now of the Comfrey feed into that watering can so that we can water the plants. I'm just gonna start by opening, which makes it so easy because we've got these little catches on the side here. So I can open the bucket quite easily, but I'm preparing myself for this because now already that smells absolutely disgusting. Honestly, that is so disgusting. But it's going to be fantastic for the plants. So what I need to do now is to gently pour the liquid through the funnel. And it doesn't matter if I spill any, because I'm using this other bucket. So everything's going to be caught. Nothing will go to waste. But we do need to sieve this. We do need to make sure that it's all... that's perfect. No, that's wonderful. So what I can do with that is pour that into the watering can. And yes, it smells vile, but it's good for the garden, and that's all we care about. So I'll be a little bit more careful this time because I was a little bit heavy-handed. To be slightly more careful. Yep. And that is perfection. In fact, it's not just perfection, it is total perfection. Because this now will mean that we've got the perfect concentration for feeding all the lovely plants in the garden. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Now I'm going to start by feeding this geranium. Now this one was cut back not too long ago, and it will flower again. So in order to get it to flower to its best, I'm going to feed it with the Comfrey feed. I'm also going to feed a rose that we planted quite recently. Well, this year, spring. We planted sweet honey, and I'm going to give that a really good feed because it is about to flower again. It finished its first flush of flowers and it performed beautifully, really great scent. The buds have started to form already, but I want it to flower again. I want it to look amazing, and this feed will do the job. But I'm going to start with the geranium first. And now sweet honey is going to have a really good drink, because this will help her a great deal. Notice the buds formed there, and we're going to have a few on these stems So if I give her a good feed, I'm also going to feed Super Dorothy as well, because she's not looking, she's a rambler and she flowered beautifully, but at the minute she's not looking great, so she's going to have a little feed, and the rest of it I'm going to use on these echinaceas. And it'll just give them a little bit of a burst. They'll probably have some more later, but I'll just give them a little bit of a burst. I'm going to get on with some watering, continue the rest of the garden. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a pleasure showing you our Comfrey feed and sharing this with you, because it's something that we can all be doing as gardeners, and it really will benefit your garden and your plants. It will make a huge difference, so please do this. So as I say, thank you for watching. It's very much appreciated. Please click the thumbs up button and feel free to comment in the comments box below. Also, if you have social media accounts, please share our videos on there, because that's a really good way of getting our message across and letting people see our videos. But thank you for watching, and we really do look forward to seeing you on the next one. Potassium, the phosphorus, as well as the nitrogen, the first one. The watering can already has 9 mils in, so allowing for the litres. Start again.